Thanks for joining me today for our webinar on snacks, eating healthy snacks. My name's Julie Lampert, and I am the Wellness Director at Cancer Services. We are a nonprofit cancer support agency in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So I'm happy to be here with you all. A couple of things. We will for sure be done in an hour. The most recent webinars I've been doing, I've been getting done in a little bit less than an hour. So we'll see how it goes tonight. If you have questions as we go along, you are welcome to put those in the chat or the Q&A. If I can get to them while we're doing our, while I'm going through the presentation, I'm happy to do that. Or we'll catch them at the end, whatever works. So feel free to put any questions in there. Hold on, let me turn on one other light. There we go. So this is kind of a topic that I get a lot of questions on, and I should probably make sure that if we have any new people on tonight, you're familiar with me. So I told you where I work, but I am a registered dietitian, nutritionist, a board certified specialist in oncology nutrition. I have a master's in public health from UNC Chapel Hill, and I did my BS in biology from NC State. So for anyone in North Carolina, you know that means I have a heart divided. But what it really means is when you get nutrition advice, you want to get it from a registered dietitian, because we have the training that it takes to look through all the evidence and give you the most science-based information. Because it feels like everybody has an opinion on food, it doesn't make it an expert opinion. So hopefully tonight's information will be helpful for you as you make eating decisions for yourself and your family. Okay, so I came up with this topic because people do ask this question a lot of me. Is it healthy to snack? You know, should I be eating 6 small meals? Should I be eating 3 big meals? Should I be, you know, fasting for some odd period of time? Should I not let myself snack? So we're going to cover all those things when it comes to how to optimize your nutrition with your it's really kind of about your schedule and then how you build those snacks. So we'll cover, is it healthy to snack? How to build a snack? How should you measure portions? We'll do a couple examples of nutritious snacks, and then how to turn a snack into a meal, if that's what you need to do. Okay, so first of all, is it healthy to snack? Yes. All right. So the role of snacks is a really important one, I think. It is an opportunity for you to get healthy nutrition that your body needs throughout the day. Most of the time you will need a snack if you have more than 4 hours between meals. So snacks are not, like, the way I think of snacks is that they are helping to meet your nutrition needs, your energy needs, or calorie needs. Calories are just a unit of energy. So I refer to calories as energy. If it's going to be a long time between meals and your body is getting low on energy, you want to give it a little bit to keep it going to your next meal. So you definitely want to get some calories. You also want to get a variety of nutrients, a little bit of fiber. If you can get a fruit or a vegetable, that helps to build up your fruit and vegetable intake. So I think snacks are great, especially if in your eating schedule there's a long time between meals. So is it better to have 3 meals and no snacks, or 6 small meals a day? Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. It is kind of up to you. It probably has more to do with your schedule and your body than anything else. If you basically, you need to have a regular eating schedule, because then your body gets into a routine. It knows when the next meal is coming or the next energy is coming. It's better for your digestive system to kind of be on a schedule. If you want to be, quote, regular, then you need to eat on a regular schedule, and that way your body knows. It knows when meals are coming. It knows when it needs to, like, empty your GI tract. So generally, it doesn't matter to me. If you tend to eat larger meals, you may not need snacks, because you may be filled and satiated until your next meal. Or if you tend to have smaller meals, or it go a long time in between your meals, that's when I think snacks are really beneficial. So no one right answer, and it depends on the day too. Sometimes you eat meals that are very filling and you don't need to snack until your next meal, and sometimes you eat meals that maybe empty quicker, or you had a lot of exercise one day and your body's metabolism is just higher and you go through your meals faster. So I encourage you to pay attention to your body, what it's telling you, and whether you need to snack or not. So all right, so for general health and wellness, a regular eating schedule is the best bet. And then my general rule is eat breakfast within 1 hour of getting up in the morning and eat regularly throughout the day. So don't go, especially in the morning, don't go a long time until you eat breakfast, because that's your opportunity to give your body that nutrition to get the day started. So your goals in terms of snacks is to get enough food to meet your hunger needs and your energy needs. And I would say secondary goal, or tertiary, third, it would be to provide your body with extra nutrients that it needs for the day. Snacks are great ways to help build up your plant food intake. So spread that food throughout the day. Don't cram all of your food into 1 or 2 meals. Now, I know there's probably some people who do just fine, skipping a meal. I do say if something's working for you, I don't think you need to change it. But if something is not working, the general rule I would tell you is for sure to have 3 meals spread throughout the day. Pay attention to your hunger. I have had clients tell me, gosh, I'm always so hungry at 2 o'clock. I can't stop eating. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with you. Your body's telling you it needs more food. And so I help them think through, what do they typically eat for breakfast and for lunch? And maybe they eat breakfast at 6:30 in the morning and they eat lunch at 11 o'clock. And by 2 o'clock, they actually need to have another meal before they have, if they're not going to have dinner until 6 or 7, they may need to have another meal in there. So I do encourage you to make sure that regularly throughout the day, you are giving your body nutrition, providing it that energy and nutrients. If you need help with a daily eating schedule, always seek your dietitian. Of course, I kind of can give basic recommendations, but a lot of people's cancer center dietitians may be able to assist them, or other dietitians in your community could help you come up with some kind of schedule that might work for you. So let's talk about how you build a nutritious snack. General rule is to include food from 2 to 3 food groups. So we're going to kind of walk through what the food groups are, just as a refresher. So you can think through, okay, if I pull something from one food group and another food group, I can put it together, that makes a snack. So we are going to start with the vegetable group, because that's something people typically need to eat more of. And I have very generic, categories here. We have raw vegetables, easy for snacking. I often, for lunch and snacks at work, am packing raw vegetables that come in like ready to eat form, so that I don't have to spend a lot of time with a cutting board and knife in the morning. If I'm packing my lunch and my snacks, I prefer to buy the snackable cucumbers that you don't have to cut, like you just have to rinse them off and they're ready to eat. I buy the baby carrots. Peppers are a little harder because I do like peppers, but you pretty much have to cut them yourself. Or nothing wrong with eating a pepper whole. You can take a whole pepper and just eat it like an apple. Little cherry tomatoes, I like to get those as well. And then oftentimes I'm getting, well, I'll get away from myself, but hummus to go with those vegetables, which is, we'll get that in a different category. But okay, so raw vegetables is certainly an option for this. Green smoothie is a great snack. If you don't have my best smoothie ever recipe, you can look at cancerdietitian.com and search for best smoothie ever. It's delicious. A lot of times I actually have that for my breakfast in the morning. Cooked vegetables are also perfectly appropriate if you have like leftovers. Freeze-dried vegetables are crunchy versions, which is kind of fun. And then 100% vegetable juice, if you really don't have any vegetables, that's also a good, what I would call a backup option for the vegetable group. Okay, so starches, ideally you're going to choose whole grains whenever possible. So granola bars, cereal, it's perfectly fine to have a little bowl of cereal as a snack if you want to. Whole grain Fig Newtons, bread or bagel, pretzels, crackers, chips, popcorn. So chips, you know, depending on the type of chip you get, it could be made with whole grains. Like think about corn chips, they are made with whole grains. There are, you know, potato chips technically are potatoes. That's a lot of oil, but you know, they can count. I would count them in the starch category, if we're thinking through that. And I had someone email me this week asking, oh, I volunteer in the chemo room and we're always kind of giving people maybe not the most nutritious snacks. What kinds of, you know, healthy processed type foods are there? And whole grain fig Newtons was on my list. Or I shop at Costco and they have, I don't remember what the other brand is, but they have some whole grain fig bars that I will buy. Popcorn you can get, you know, of course you could pop it yourself. Or you can get the little individual bags if you need it to be easy to carry with you. Crackers, my favorite crackers are Triscuits. They're 100% whole grain. I mean, I like the little triangle ones, which are thin crisps, and I like the regular square ones. I love Triscuits. They should probably sponsor Cancer Dietitian. And then some granola bars. There are, I mean, for most granola bars are made with oats, which are whole grains, so I think that's pretty good. The Nature Valley ones are hard and crunchy, whereas the like Quaker oat, sometimes they have chocolate chip or whatever, they're more chewy. So those are options, or you can make your own at home if you want to. Fruit is kind of one of the easiest snacks. I don't think many people have trouble figuring out, oh yeah, it's snack time, let me grab a piece of fruit. Fresh fruit is obviously really easy. You can either, sometimes I'll buy the pre-cut fruit at the store because that's really easy to grab and eat. But bananas are super simple. Apples are pretty easy. These little applesauce packs are fine. Dried fruit is also a great option, especially to pack to, you know, to go in your lunch or if you have to eat on the go. Different types of dried fruit. In the picture here, there's prunes, which I think are delicious. I know some people don't like them, but they're great. Apricots, and then dates. Dates are so delicious. They're like candy. Sometimes I'll bring them as my dessert. Fruit smoothie, again, is an option. Let's see, I had it on the vegetable, right? Green smoothie, that's right. So technically that green smoothie is 2 food groups, or maybe even 3. My best smoothie ever if you put spinach in it, because you'll have spinach and you'll have banana and you'll have peanut butter and you'll have milk. So that is kind of a combo in itself of 3 food groups. But you can just make a fruit smoothie with a little bit of milk or yogurt and fresh fruit or frozen fruit. That would be pretty simple and would be a great way to get in more fruit in your snacks. Fruit cups, I think, are useful if you need to have easy to eat fruit that's shelf stable. I think that fruit snacks or the fruit cups are a good option for that. And then again, for your backup option, 100% fruit juice is also an option. It's not as filling. So fruit, anything that's a liquid is not going to be as filling as the whole food version. Now, smoothies are a little bit different because you're using the whole food to make the smoothie. It's going to be somewhat filling, but that's just a option if you do need to get a little bit of fruit in, or you need an easy to grab kind of fruit snack. Protein, I find, is a little bit harder for people to fit in at snacks, but I encourage you to really think about, can I include a protein in my snack? Because a lot of people, if you're not getting a significant amount of protein in your meals, then you're going to need to have it in your snacks to help meet your protein for the day. Cheese and crackers is pretty simple. A lot of people, you know, I feel like I fall back on cheese and crackers a lot. So I try to do something a little different. In the picture here, we have tuna. So I think tuna, any kind of canned fish or chicken salad or tuna salad is a really great option. Deli meats, egg, you could do boiled egg. You could make egg salad. Yogurt, also a good protein option. Even just a cup of milk can be a great protein option. I do caution to make sure that it is actually a milk with protein. So cow's milk will have protein. Fairlife milk has more protein per cup than just regular cow's milk. So that's another good thing to try. But be cautious with some of the plant-based milks. Some of them don't have any protein at all. And so it's basically like drinking water. So if you're expecting it to have protein, you need to make sure that what you're having actually does have protein in it. Soy milk is a protein filled plant milk. Almond milk, cashew milk, not so much. There are some, I can't remember, like pea-based milks that are, they do have good amount of protein in it. Nuts are great proteins as well, or nut butter, so peanut butter, almond butter. Hummus or bean dip are good options. A protein bar. Now, that's not my favorite thing unless you know what it's made out of and it's made out of real food. So to me, a protein bar could be a nut bar, like a Kind bar. But if you're getting one of the sort of processed protein bars, it's mostly made out of protein powder and, you know, who knows what else, sugar and artificial sweeteners. It's not the most nutritious, but if you paired it with an apple or some vegetables, then you could at least feel like you're meeting some of your needs through that. Okay, so let me recap here. We did vegetables, starch, fruit, protein. I'll also point out here that I do put milk and basically dairy products I put in the protein group. I think the MyPlate puts dairy as a separate section, but I think it's just easier to think of 4 food groups: protein, starch, fruit, vegetable, and keep it simple. So beverages can help build your snack. I did talk about milk. You can include, or probably ought to include, a beverage with your snack. Water, unsweet tea, or unsweetened coffee are good options. If you do unsweet tea or unsweet coffee, you know that's technically a plant that's brewed into your water and you're drinking it, so you're getting extra plant nutrients. Choosing a milk beverage with at least 8 grams of protein per cup can count as your protein, which is what I was kind of referring to. If you make a green smoothie or choose 4 to 8 ounces of 100% vegetable or fruit juice, that can also be your fruit and or vegetable. So beverages, I think, are great ways to, you know, get nutrition in your snacks. So here's just a little example. This would be a snack with 3 food groups. You've got pretzels as your grain group. You have hummus, which is made of chickpeas and sesame seed butter. That is a protein. And then you have celery and carrots to dip in your hummus. Well, I guess you dip the pretzels too. But that would be your 3rd food group. So that would be, I think, a great snack. Technically, if you really didn't want to go that, you know, far into it, you could just do the pretzels and hummus, or you could just do the veggies and hummus. Or you could do the pretzels and veggies. Those would, you know, those combos would give you 2 food groups, but if you really need a good filling snack, you might want all 3. So here are a few snack examples. Sliced cheese and fruit. So that's a lovely little charcuterie looking platter down here. But that's a simple thing. I often, again, for my lunches, will pack some cheese, fruit, vegetables, hummus, nuts, and kind of be done with it. Celery, almond butter, and raisins. So or peanut butter and raisins. That's the ants on a log snack that we often do for kids. A boiled egg and an apple combo. Chicken salad and crackers. I think I've said this about the green smoothie enough times now, where you can get fruit, vegetable, milk, and actually in my best smoothie ever, you're putting in peanut butter. So there's a plant protein in there too. Cottage cheese and dried apricots. I don't know if any of you like to have kind of the fruits with the cottage cheese. I know some people do. I'm more of a have my cottage cheese with tomatoes person, but I have heard it's good with dried fruit. Trail mix is a really simple combo snack. So trail mix would give you nuts and fruit, and of course a little bit of chocolate. So that would be 2 food groups. Yogurt and granola, and if you threw some fruit on there too, that could be 3 or 2. If you need a granola recipe to make yourself at home, which is a cheaper way to have granola, you can look on my website for granola recipes. Really, really good and pretty simple. Popcorn and V8 juice is something that I have done many times in the past. It's a simple way to get a vegetable. I like to get the low sodium V8 because the regular is pretty high in sodium. The low sodium can taste a little bit like plants. And so I like to pair it with a salty food that helps to kind of like add the salt without it being so salty. In the picture here, you can see rice cake with peanut butter and banana, and you can get whole, I think, brown rice cakes, like basically whole grain rice cakes. I've had chocolate flavored rice cakes. I mean, chocolate rice cakes with peanut butter and banana. That would be delicious. I think I'm going to go to the grocery store right after this because that seems like a pretty great idea. Canned fruit and cheese crackers. So even the packaged cheese crackers could be an easy way to do that. 8 ounces of kefir and some berries. Kefir is another great beverage to give you protein and nutrients. And then hummus, veggies, and crackers. We kind of already talked about that. All great ways, you know, this sounds simple, but if you think about it, it's like, okay, do I have 2 food groups? Sometimes I just ask people, do you have a fruit or a vegetable with your snack? You know, whatever it is that you're having, do you have a fruit or a vegetable at your snack? Then you're doing better than most. So snacks would be 2 to 3 food groups. Meals, the way I define a meal is it's going to have all 4 food groups present. And then if it's a dessert, I also do count desserts as a snack, basically. So if you'll include fruit in your dessert, then that kind of bumps up the nutrition. Sometimes that's not possible. You know, you're out to eat and you're just getting the chocolate cake. You're not going to ask them, can you put some strawberries on my chocolate cake? But if you're at home and you're having some kind of sweet treat after dinner, it's pretty easy to include fruit in that. I was talking to a group the other day and we were giving examples of, you know, what could you have for a dessert? And it is really hard for people when they're sort of in the zone of healthy eating. They sometimes don't let themselves think about desserts, I think. But I want to encourage you to allow yourself to have desserts sometimes and figure out how to make that dessert a true dessert and also include fruit. So I'm not talking about having like pureed frozen bananas, which we call banana nice cream, which is very delicious. You know, if you want ice cream, sometimes it's okay to just eat ice cream. Instead of doing what the typical American does, which is put, you know, 4 scoops of ice cream in a bowl and have chocolate sauce on it. Could you put banana in your bowl and then put a scoop of ice cream and then put some nuts and then maybe a little chocolate sauce, and then it would still be filling. You would still get the, you know, delicious flavor of ice cream that you're looking for, but you would also be consuming a banana with it. And in that case, you know, you're getting a little bit of protein in the ice cream, you're getting fruit, you're getting nuts. If you're like sliced almonds, I keep in my freezer and I just put those whenever I have a little bit of ice cream. So I think that those are, you know, it helps to make your dessert sort of carry extra nutrition, but still meet that expectation that you're going for when you want something really sweet and delicious. So, do you need to measure your portions? I don't think so. You can maybe if you want to kind of recalibrate how you're doing things, but having a small to moderate portion of food should meet your snack needs. So if you feel like, you know, some days you're going to need a bigger snack, some days you're going to need a smaller snack, really pay attention to how hungry you are when you start eating and how full you are after a little bit. Make sure you're not eating too fast. You're not eating when you're distracted, that you're really focused on the food. And then if you have had a small snack and you're still hungry, then you have a little bit of more. So pay attention to those hunger and fullness cues. That it's really important. And I think a lot of people have kind of gotten out of touch. It's also if you've gone through treatment and you've kind of had to force feed yourself because you didn't feel like it, you knew you needed to eat. As you get through that active treatment and start more into your survivorship phase, you might need to kind of notice, like, is my appetite coming back? Can I pay it? Do I notice my hunger cues or my fullness cues? I know that for me, after having a kid, And like life is crazy when you have a baby. And so I would just eat, like whenever I had the moment, I would just go ahead and eat something. And at some point after, they grew up a little bit, I realized like I don't have to every time I turn around and have a minute, I don't have to eat anymore. Like I need to start moving back into that phase of like, let's just eat when it's time to eat or when I'm hungry. So I think of that as well with the treatment phase of things. If you have gone through a period of time where you've basically had to force feed yourself, make yourself eat, it's hard to get back to that place of, trusting your appetite when it wasn't working for you before. So I just want to speak to that a little bit. So if you find that large snacks are required at a particular time of day, you may need to adjust your typical eating schedule. So here's this cute little squirrel stuffing his face. If just like that example of the client who said, "Oh, I eat so much at 2 o'clock in the afternoon," and my take is this is information your body's giving you. I don't think that there is something wrong with you, that you're overeating at 2 o'clock. I think there's a reason that you're that hungry. And maybe your lunch actually wasn't big enough. Or maybe you had eaten 3 hours before, and therefore 2 o'clock is actually, you might need to build in a fourth meal for the day. So really, I think that paying attention to how much you need to meet your body's needs at that time will help inform what you're looking for. Okay, so before I give you the take-home points, I don't think I actually said how to turn a meal or a snack into a meal aside from this slide. So I know some people are going to listen because I'm going to put this on my podcast. You're not even seeing the slide. So for meals, so this is what I would do is if you need a meal and you don't have a meal plan, you haven't planned what you're going to eat for dinner or lunch or whatever, but you do have access to a pantry or snacks, all you need to do is grab 4 snacks, okay? And they can be like one from each food group. Bam, you have a meal. My kids kind of know this rule. Actually, during the pandemic, my daughter, who was doing school at home, her schedule and my schedule, my husband's schedule were not always the same. So she would often just have to come down to the kitchen and, make herself a lunch. And she wasn't old enough to cook anything. But she knew to have a fruit, a vegetable, a starch, and a protein. So same thing with snacks. When you think about, these snack examples, if you added some of these like celery, almond butter, raisins, okay, so that's vegetable, fruit, protein, all you need to do is add a starch to that and you basically have a meal. The green smoothie is 3. If you added a little bit of something on the side, or I probably would let you get away with counting your fruit as a starch if you needed to. But all of these are things that all you need to do is make sure you have those 4 present, and then it's a meal. It might need to be a larger portion of each one if, at mealtime, but meals do not have to be complicated is kind of my point here. That if you have the snacks around, like we always keep snack bars, crackers handy, cheese ideally, we have milk pretty handy, and then fruits and vegetables we just try to keep stocked around. You don't have to do a meal plan to make a meal like that. And you can have, breakfast food any time of day. So I would encourage you to think through, okay, let me just have some healthy, quote, snacks around. And that way, if you don't have a plan for dinner or, it's nice outside and you're just staying outside for a long time, you come in when you're starving, you can just go ahead and pull some snacks together and make a meal. One time my daughter did a bowl and it had popcorn, it had cashews, it had blueberries, it had cucumbers, and then she put some M&Ms on there. So that was a bowl that had all 4 of the food groups. Okay, so our take-home points for this particular topic are, first of all, to get enough nutrition needs to meet your hunger and energy. So getting enough food, basically. Something blocked my way. Okay, so get enough to meet your hunger and energy needs. Again, that's enough calories. So I don't want you to think about, oh, what's the lowest calorie snack I can find? That is not helpful for your body. you know, if it's low calorie, it's low energy. So what we really want to think about is what nutrients does my body need? And I think food groups are great ways to represent nutrients. So what food groups do I need to have for, you know, for my body? What sounds good to me? Do I want something crunchy? Do I want something sweet? Do I want something salty? Those are the things I would think of. I do not think that sort of limiting calories or grabbing some of those snacks that are like 100 calorie snacks, I don't have a problem with those. But if you need a snack, you're probably going to need more than 100 calories, maybe 200, 250, 300 calories. Sometimes I feel like those 100 calorie snack packs, like I could eat 5 of those. And then it's really typically only your starch. So even if you want to use some of those 100 calorie packs, if that's your starch, make sure you have at least 1 or 2 other food groups along with it. So have 2 to 3 food groups on your plate, or, you know, whatever. Plate is figurative here. And then choose quality sources that promote health. So when you choose proteins, when you choose healthy fats like avocados and nuts and nut butters, when you choose, you know, those both have protein in them. They help to fill you up. They slow the emptying of your stomach. Healthy fats, proteins, and enough calories and nutrition that helps to fill up your stomach. If you notice that you eat something and you still feel hungry, then, you know, that is not filling you up. You either need more or you need something different. To spread your eating throughout the day, I think I've hit this one home, which is, yes, you need snacks if your meals are real spaced apart. Or if your meals are kind of small and you're somebody who doesn't like to eat a lot at one time, which I can completely understand. You don't want to overfill yourself, but then it turns out you've, you know, used up that energy, and you'll need a snack throughout, another snack before the next meal. Okay, so gosh, I think that wraps up a lot of what I wanted to share with you today. And look, it's only been 30 minutes. So a couple of things that are coming up. Well, anybody who hasn't done the Survivor Diet email series, I would encourage you to do that. Let me see if I can. Whoop. I'm going to try to copy this link. For those of you who are listening or watching the recording, we'll be sure to have it in the show notes. That is not working, is it? Let me stop sharing. Okay, I'll tell you about it, and then I'm going to put it in the chat. So Survivor Diet email series you can get at cancerdietitian.com/Survivor Diet. I do have the registration open for my next webinar, which will be in July 12th. It's a Wednesday, 8 o'clock again. I'm going to cover plant-based eating for cancer survivors. So I do this topic every couple of years. So this will be the update, new slides, new content. That's at cancerservicesonline.org/July registration is where you can find that. And then if you want more sort of ideas around food groups, myplate.gov has I think their website's really helpful, and they would have lots of different ideas for each food group. I just want to point out that they do keep protein and dairy as 2 separate groups. I lump dairy products in with the protein group just to keep things simple. Okay, so let me stop sharing. And I am open to answering any questions. If you all have any questions, let me put the Survivor Diet link in the chat. Here we go. There's that one. Let me see if I can hyperlink it. And then the July registration, I will also put that in the chat for the next one. If you're listening to this after July, it's recorded and on the cancerdietitian.com website. July registration. There we go. And I also have Eat the Rainbow program starting also in July. So when you're on that webpage, you can register for the Eat the Rainbow program. It's a 12-week program to help you increase your fruit and vegetable intake. It's email based, so you can do it from anywhere, whatever is convenient. I share lots of recipes and tips on different fruits and vegetables, and ways to kind of keep it simple when you're trying to improve your nutrition intake. Anything else? I don't see any questions in the chat or the Q&A, so I must have covered everything. And if you do have questions, though, you can always email me through the cancerdietitian.com website. And I think that's all for today. So I hope this has been helpful. I will send a follow-up email with a link to the recording and also an evaluation, so you can tell me what you learned and give any ideas for future topics. That's all for tonight. Thanks so much. Take care.